Ladies and gentlemen, let's Red Gamer video. We have an update concerning both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4's performance increases. Now, I've spoken a lot about this the last few days, and if you're not 100% familiar with some of this stuff, I have done an article which will give you the backstory behind this, but if you're already up to speed, then you can probably just listen along, although I have given the original source for the quotes, and also, as I said, discuss some of this a little bit more. So if you do need more information or you're not quite sure about some of the points I'm about to make, you've got the references. If you know about them, no need. So anyway, one of the industry insiders, one of the more infamous ones, Fouet, also known as Hassan Rashid, has spoken both about the Xbox One and the PS4. He said on Twitter, to begin with, might as well start with Sony, the PS4 tools are getting better, efficiencies are being exploited, and redundancies are being cleaned out, and GPU is a thing. So we've discussed the GPU stuff previously. It basically leverages the PlayStation 4's general purpose computing on the GPU advantage compared to that of the Xbox One. Worth noting that Sony are most likely in the process of clearing out their code structure. So we don't have the specific information, so it's not like we can say, okay, this is what they're doing to that API, this is what they're doing to their, OS, but most likelihood is that they're probably improving the SDK, likely making small changes to that API, maybe some low-level OS stuff as well, but it's a bit hard to know without actually getting under the hood. I don't think, however, this is going to have anything to do with the memory reserves right now. And obviously all of this is going to come down to the compute potential of the console, which, when you consider the console has rather weedy, much like the Xbox One, CPU performance, this has even been mentioned by developers, I've linked a couple of examples in the article, then this is definitely a good thing. So the Xbox One, meanwhile, discuss the additional memory bandwidth. If you're not too familiar on that, basically Phil Spencer has said, you know what, we're going to increase the memory bandwidth available to the Xbox One's GPU. If you want more of an analysis, there's a link in the article in the description, and I go into depth in that. It's fairly late here, guys, so I don't want to be really late here. It's almost midnight, so that's why I'm kind of breezing through some of the stuff. So basically, Phil mentioned that, and congratulations to the Xbox One community for the June the 9th update. However, no, this update is not going to close the gap between the PS1/X1. He then added some clarification and said the June update is great and frame rates and FX, graphical effects in other words, should improve across the board. Games for Gold will finally give the Xbox One some much needed value. Now, remember that what he says here is pretty simplistic, and I don't think it's going to be a shock to anyone. The bottom line is the PS4 has too much of a hardware advantage. It's the PS4 versus the Xbox One. The PS4 has about a 500 G-flop GPU advantage alone, as well as a massive memory bandwidth performance. So yeah, if the Xbox One had massive amounts of optimization, I'm talking like the best optimization possible, and the PS4, Sony just didn't optimize it whatsoever. It was heavily unoptimized. There was inefficiencies in the SDKs, bad SDKs and all this for developers. The API was a load of crap, and so on and so forth. Then sure, one could make a really good argument that both systems could achieve a semi-parity. Right? The PS4 would have loads of potential, but it just would be wasted. In this case, that's not what's happening. Sony are optimizing as well. Microsoft optimizing, and it just makes sense. I mean, look, the consoles at the bottom line, end of the day, they're 6 months old. Okay, give or take a couple of weeks, but you get the point. And in it for the long haul, not only has the hardware and the software got to be understood much better by the developers, the games themselves, the actual game engines from the developers are likely not even optimized yet anyway. So even the games from the developers, they're going to learn how to do better rendering techniques. They're going to learn how to, for example, improve lighting. They're going to learn how to better understand what, for example, could be pushed over to GPU computing. They're going to understand how to better implement, say, ray tracing, whatever they need to do at the end of the day. Even things such as incremental updates to the game engine. So, for example, the next Unreal, the next CryEngine, there's going to be incremental updates. So, just an example, and it doesn't quite work like this with the Unreal Engine, but they would equivalent of release the 4.0, then it'll be like 4.1, 4.2. Not necessarily exact those numbers, but they're going to slowly increment the engine, and as they do, they're going to add features, they're going to improve features, they're going to learn what works, they're going to improve the tool chains, and all of these are going to mean we're going to get better graphics, better gameplay, and all of the other bits and bobs. Anyway, as I said, that's just about it for this particular video. I like to harp on a little bit more, but it is ludicrously late. I'd also like to remind you guys that we are running the competition with Bitdefender. So you've got until 3 weeks from the posting of this video, basically. So if you've not checked out the Bitdefender video, go ahead and do so. Not only is it a full interview, so you get tons of security information and how to protect yourself online, but the great news is you'll actually get to win one of 5 full copies of Total Security from Bitdefender, which is pretty awesome of them. They just basically said, yeah, you're doing the interview, so yeah, here's some copies. It's kind of like a promotional thing, I suppose. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Take care, and bye for now.